Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's been a bit.
We're
Welcome
back
to Heavy Revy TV. I'm your host, Brian, and this is my wonderful wife, Shauna. And we're going to talk a little bit today about the collective consciousness. We've been off for a little bit. We had to find a location
in transition,
and also get some internet that would work where we are located, which is
important
in the middle of nowhere. And so I actually wrote a little bit on the collective and what we're going to be talking about today. So let me just kind of read what I put above the video. We're going to be talking about balancing the extremes within the collective consciousness. And this is what I said: balancing the extremes within the collective consciousness is not going to happen overnight. Okay, so we know this. This is a process that we're unveiling ourselves, unveiling one another, these types of things. Okay, but we can speed things up if we understand what drives us beneath the surface of our reactions. While one holds to oneness as the ultimate revelation, which we believe in. Okay, all right. We can also hold on to that from a place of denial that's based in fear and trauma of the past, or a twisted image of what we're trying to claim, so we don't lose something or something we have to protect within ourselves. So revelation can operate at that level. Good to see you, Sean. Love you
Sean.
too. Love you and Heather, and we can't wait to see you guys again soon. Okay. Now let's say that you hold to individuality and you don't believe in oneness. Okay. That truth is going to become, again, extreme to fight the source of oneness. Okay. So we have a lot of this going on right now. The collective consciousness is all about one mind. Each part of the mind is focused on different aspects of life. As we wake up and raise our frequencies, we'll begin to unveil more and more of the matrix we have been plugged into. And then, of course, we talk about how we're going to find some keys to balance the blending of these frequencies. Now, before we get into balancing the extremes within the collective consciousness, let's talk a little bit about what is the collective consciousness for those that might not know what it is. I know there's a lot out there on it, a lot of information. And so we kind of want to simplify it and basically say that the matrix, everything you're experiencing visibly, whether it's landscape, trees, rocks, plants, animals, or people, or even buildings or things, are actually all a part of the collective consciousness. Okay, so at our base level, we are in the field of the frequencies. If you look at it from a quantum standpoint, there's the atom, and then there's the field. The field is filled with all the atoms working together, but the atom is also by itself, in a sense, becoming aware of itself in the field. Okay, and so the atom by itself would be the higher self, looking in on itself within the other atoms and within itself within the field. Now, in the field, it doesn't look like it does off by itself in an invisible form of frequency, and light and love. It is in the form of the structures of what we have been programmed to believe. Okay. And so all of us have been influenced by the culture around us, by the system around us, by the elites around us. They have their program, and we're breaking out of their program and coming into a new heavens and a new earth. And, it's crazy. I was watching this video on TikTok, and it was a video about Japanese scientists who did this study. I don't know how many of you have heard about this. It's called the 100 Monkeys. And I'm not going to give you all the details. You can look it up online and find it. But basically, they decided to do a study to study monkeys. And there was this island. And so they started dropping sweet potatoes at a base of a tree offshore to see if the monkeys, what they would do with the sweet potatoes. So they loved it. They grabbed the sweet potatoes, they'd eat them, and it was good. So then they decided, well, let's drop the sweet potatoes near the water on the sand where there's some wet sand, and let's see what they do with them there. So they dropped the sweet potatoes there, and the monkeys, they wouldn't eat them because they were covered in sand. Obviously, who would want to eat, a sweet potato covered in sand? So they went and they grabbed two of the monkeys there. They took them to their facility and they taught them how to wash sand off of sweet potatoes. Okay. And they taught them, and then they integrated them back onto the island with the other monkeys. So the next time they dropped sweet potatoes on the sand, those two monkeys grabbed a couple monkeys with them and showed them how to wash the sand off. Okay, pretty simple. All right. I think we could teach a monkey to do that. There's nothing supernatural about that, right? And so before long, they had reached about 100 monkeys. Okay. Once they reached the mark of 100 monkeys that now had learned from these two monkeys how to wash sweet potatoes, they decided to just go to another island and see what happens there. So they go to another island and they start dropping sweet potatoes in the sand. They don't train any monkeys there. They just decide, let's continue where we left off. And those monkeys on the second island who had not been trained, who didn't know the other monkeys, instantly began to wash the potatoes in the water and eat them. Now, what is this pretty much talking about? What it's saying is that they only needed to train the two that trained the other 98 that then affected monkeys on another island who never witnessed the training. That is the collective consciousness. Mm-hmm. That's how much it affects us. So it doesn't take but 100, so at least according to that scientific experiment, to actually shift the collective consciousness into alignment with what that first 100 had learned and had done or is responding to. And so being the collective basically means this: we are frequencies, intelligent frequencies that are moving together. And in this finite human experience, we have a conclusion in our visible experience of who we are, who we're not, who everybody else is, who they're not, how rocks affect us. I mean, how trees affect us. How we view life is what causes us to experience life the way we experience it. Mm-hmm. And so everybody is pumping their frequency into the collective, everybody, and is either changing for good the environment of our experience or twisting it into a dualistic hell based on their perception of themselves. Okay. And this all happens, this all goes from within. So if I'm living from within, I'm doing the shadow work, I'm letting go of past conclusions that are based in self-preservation, bitterness, offense, jealousy, isolation, separation, these types of mentalities. And I'm getting free from that and I'm letting go of that. My frequency now can positively begin to reform the world around not only me, but all of those I come into contact with. And if there's 199 others in agreement with me, we can actually affect the entire world. Okay. And so this is all happening. Okay. As it says in the Bible, when it says, weep with those who weep and laugh with those who laugh, be of the same mind toward one another. It says that to balance the matrix, to balance the collective consciousness, right? And we will experience what others feel. How many have been through that before, where all of a sudden your friend hasn't called today and you sense something is up? Yeah. And it's more than just being aware of the habit of them calling at that time every day or specific times a week. There's just something in your gut that you feel, or you're going through something, you feel depressed and you don't know why you feel depressed, but there's nothing going on in your life. And then a friend calls and they're the one going through it. You've tapped into them. Okay. We are all one. All right. And this is something that is really important. Would you like to add to that, honey?
No, I think it's important to kind of talk about that and kind of also see some of the stuff we get caught up in being so connected with all of the collective consciousness, or kind of like what we're talking about. I think it's so important because you hear about how we're one, you hear about consciousness, unconscious, what's unconscious. And so I think it's really good to kind of have this conversation and talk about it, so that, again, because awareness is a key to all of this, that I think it's so important that we talk about it and unveil it and ask questions. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I mean, it can become really deep. It can become really mystical.
And yeah, it's not as complex.
It really isn't.
No.
Once we realize that the world we are living in is a projection of our own belief system, personally, and then as there is agreement on a global level, we then create cultures out of that inside frequency belief system. Okay. And so when we look at some of the extremes that are going on out there right now, a lot of the extremes that are happening, even within spiritual enlightenment, is because people have not done the shadow work. They're trying to escape what they feel by grabbing hold of a truth. And because we are the collective consciousness, we can encounter a truth, a deep truth. But the way in which we interpret and respond and react to truth can still be out of self-preservation and trauma-based perception and thinking that can actually twist it and cause us to, again, go into extremes. And so this is where we see extremes. Like, I can believe in oneness, and I know a lot of people that believe in oneness. And, and so we've had some people that believe in oneness totally just come against oneness in their belief of oneness, by whether or not separating themselves from you, or protecting themselves from one another and putting up their walls and calling it discernment. It's no different than the charismania we see in Christianity, where they claim somebody they don't like has a demon, and now they use that person as their scapegoat to not have to face their own trauma. Okay.
I remember like coming into the church and just whether in the church or out of the church doesn't matter, but just seeing people, how they were aware of the fact that, like, okay, I can feel what someone else is feeling. I embody other people's pain, all of these things. And then it would be like, oh, well, I'm feeling whatever it is that they're feeling. Let's say I'm feeling this anger. It has to be someone else. I know that it's for someone else. I need to find out who it's for and all this kind of stuff. But I could see the extreme of believing that everything that you're feeling is always everybody else.
Yes.
And the way that I'm looking at it, it's kind of like, it's so important that when we are feeling things and stuff like that, are we looking at ourselves, going within first?
Yes.
Is there any anger there that you don't want to see? You know what I'm saying? Like, is it always just everybody else? Or can we look within and look and see if there is something there that is happening?
Yes.
Kind of vice versa. Like, yes, it is everybody else. Yes, there's a lot of people out there who are angry. That's right. And probably people you're connected to.
Sure.
But at the same time, is it always just everybody else and never you that are feel those things? Because I think if we go to the extreme of always looking outward, we're doing nothing no different than looking for, the other.
That's very good, honey.
Extremes of whether people have demons or not, or
Oh yeah.
So kind of using what you feel as, yes, it probably is for other people, and yes, it is also me, something's going on in me because it's affecting me and it's affecting my perception and stuff. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Very good, honey. Very good. So Kevin just asked us, are you New Age? No, I don't believe in labels. I'm just Brian, and this is Shauna. I mean, if we were going to label ourselves, we'd say we are now agers, not new agers. There's a lot of labels. Let's use the labels as an example here. We label everything we conclude upon either as justified or condemned. That would come from which tree? Oh yeah, the tree of knowledge, the tree of good and evil, duality, right? And so as long as we're living in perceiving our lives from this is good and this is bad, and I'm not talking about just simple, obviously murdering somebody is bad and loving somebody is good. We obviously know that. But there is no good or bad people. There is simply people that have adopted something about them and now they are reacting accordingly. Okay. And so I'm either going to react out of believing that I am, love, that I am, in the image of divinity, in the image of God, in the image of source, that I have a purpose, that I'm here to love people, or that I am isolated, separated, nobody cares, and I'm going to react and respond accordingly. But no, I'm not a New Ager. I love New Agers. I love everyone. I think some of the New Agers have some good stuff out there. I think some Christians have some good stuff out there. I just have learned to drop the labels that have limited me to the program that I have been subjected to. And it's the program of man's opinions that have mixture a lot of times, okay? And so, but I just want to say hi to everybody that's on here. I noticed Molly had, and I kind of threw that up there for a minute, she put obsession from passion. And we can look at that for just a second in the way in which we perceive and affect the collective. And really, let's reverse that. When there is extremes within the collective consciousness, we have passion coming from our obsession more than obsession coming from our passion. See, when I think of passion, I think of that as being something that is healthy. Passion is healthy. But when passion is backed by obsession, now we have an unhealthy passion that we're being driven by. And so we can easily become driven by and think that we're being passionate about something when really we're obsessed with something. And obsession is usually connected with addictive behavior. It's usually connected with trying to escape something. Therefore, I'm obsessed with something else to escape something in my subconscious, something I don't want to deal with.
Usually lack.
You're lacking
something, therefore you need to get something else.
Yes.
And that therefore becomes obsessive.
Exactly. Take fear, for instance. Wherever there's fear, there cannot be love. Fear is the absence of love, okay? While love is the absence of fear. And so that's why it says in 1 John, perfect love casts out all fear. But he that is feared has not been made perfect in love. What happens if you hang out long enough with people that have a twisted version of love? Okay. It's kind of like if you decided to go grocery shopping and you wanted to eat something healthy, and it said organic on it, but the label was giving you something that really wasn't in the ingredients or the real ingredients. And it was all artificial flavors and chemicals and poisons that, cause cancers and all kinds of other diseases. Okay. We are directly affected by each other's frequencies. Okay. If one person who is self-rejected, who maybe had a lot of rejection in their childhood, grows up, represses that rejection, convinces themselves that they deserve to be loved, that they're better than what their parents told them or siblings told them or friends in school told them, and they kind of puff themselves up to prove that they're worthy of love. Are they actually going to promote love being reciprocated, or are they going to promote more rejection? They're going to promote more rejection. Why? Because they haven't dealt with the rejection. Okay, they're in denial of the rejection. They've repressed the rejection. And how many people are going to be directly affected by coming into contact with their reaction of fake confidence that truly exposes how self-rejected they are? Well, they're going to be drawn to other people that are doing the same thing, first and foremost. And those people are going to want to compete with them that no, it's me that is more confident than you. It's me. And they're going to even see where the other person is rejected, where they haven't been able to hide their own rejection. And they're just going to keep projecting on each other. All right. Do you think that that affects people? Yes. Does it affect their families, their children, their friends? If it's happening at work, do you think it affects other employees? Yes, it does. It affects everyone. Okay. So just in the natural, just in this physical matrix that is just simply the product of our thoughts and conclusions, if it can affect everybody on that level, how much more is it affecting it on an invisible level? Okay, on a subconscious level, on a frequency level, you know. And so these are things that we need to talk about, you know, and think about. You know, it's taken Shauna and I quite a while to get to the point where we can be okay with friends coming and going in our life. You know, when it comes to, you know, relationships, you know, because and I know many on here have gone through this. We want to call it a betrayal. I saw somebody's post the other day and it really, really spoke to me, where they felt, oh, here I go again. Another person has just betrayed me. People can't betray you. They can only betray themselves. Realize that. Okay. Now, if you have taken upon you a belief that you've been betrayed before, and now you're going to be suspicious of every relationship you have. What do you think that is projecting into the collective consciousness? You're now building an agreement of paranoia. You know, have you ever noticed that whatever you're desiring, either all of a sudden a commercial shows up on TV or on your phone or these things? Do you think that now some would say, well, the government's watching us, they're listening in, and maybe they are, but I don't think they're as smart. I don't think they're that smart. What I do think is that we are actually creating these things looking back at us. Whatever you send out is going to come back exactly as you sent it out. And so if you're thinking to yourself, my life sucks, it's never going to amount to anything, I'm just waiting for the next destruction to happen, guess what? When it happens, you're going to think, see, I knew it was coming. But no, what that does is that strengthens the same mindset to continue to create your world in a destructive way, because all you're getting is what you put out.
Right.
But if you go, oh, wow, I need to align my frequency, I need to take some time out to work on me, to go within, to love myself, to deal with some of these triggers, then guess what happens? You begin to change your world. Shauna and I have seen this over and over again. Whenever we've gotten slapped upside the head with a situation we weren't expecting, and we got caught up in it for a couple of days, that's all we would experience. But when we would all of a sudden realize, oh, wait a second here, there's obviously a subconscious thought here that consciously we're all positive, but there was still some subconscious stuff there that was emanating, so that we could align it. And that's why this situation has happened.
And that's really normal.
Yes.
Just so I really want people to know that this is not a condemning, you know, message that, oh God, I need to get my stuff together so I can be better, or no,
that's also a wrong frequency.
That's exactly. It's all about perception.
Yes.
It's all about exactly if I used to hear people say, you know, you create your own reality. And like we've said, we've had a lot of different situations that we felt out of control in, and we didn't want these things to happen, or we didn't want to experience certain things, and we were experiencing anyways. And so I could easily get caught up in feeling like the victim.
Yes.
And get caught up in feeling like I am just subject to someone else's reality. But really, it's there to show you what's really going on subconsciously, how you don't love yourself, how you don't really believe there is good for you. Because I mean, we both believe that. You know, we thought, and I don't know about you guys, but I know I've said it multiple times. I thought I've dealt with this. I thought I've gotten healed. I thought I was doing everything right, whatever. But those are all, those questions or those statements are showing and revealing those mindsets. That's why the projection of our reality is happening, to show us what we believe. I love what, I know a lot of people have heard about Joe Dispenza and his like meditations, and I've heard about him, but it wasn't the right time, I think, for me to really dive into it. But a cycle came around again, and I was seeing it, and I'm like, all right, I'm done with this cycle. I don't know about you guys, but I was like, I think there comes a point in our life and in our awareness and our consciousness where we just say, I'm done with this cycle. I'm done with it. And so Joe Dispenza said something. He said, your personality is your personal reality.
That's right.
And so it really hit me that those areas within myself that have felt like, doesn't matter what I do or how kind or loving I am to myself or others, I'm always going to get the shit end of the stick.
Yep.
But that is a belief system that I've put on.
Mm-hmm.
It isn't me. It's something that I've just settled for.
Yep.
So what are we settling for that isn't us?
Yeah.
And he has all these multiple meditations, and there's a lot of really good stuff out there.
Here's a question. What is your personality? Your personality is not you. See, you got to change your personality to change your personal reality.
Right.
So why would you want to change your personality? Doesn't it seem like a self-betrayal and a violation of oneself?
Right.
If your personality is indeed you. But your personality is not you. Your personality is made up of the program you have adopted that is you. Okay.
Right.
And so, who you are is a neutral frequency of unconditional love and pure energy, power, and bliss that has adopted an environment or a collective consciousness that is operating in a dualistic lower frequency perception of itself. And we've adopted that, and we've become a clone of the system, okay? And that of the matrix, okay? So we created this matrix and formed it to live the life that we're living, even though we formed the suffering that we wanted to suffer. We formed the the trauma that all the stuff we put together, or somebody put together, and we ate it. Okay. And so the things that we're selling for, what are we selling for that isn't us? Like Lisa Moss just said, what are we settling for? Well, we're settling for that which is beneath us. Now, I could look and I could say, you know what? I'm tired of being broke. Okay.
You have said that.
Yes, I have. I'm using this as an example of how we can still be extreme and miss the mark.
Right.
Okay, I'm broke. I'm not going to be broke anymore. I'm going to watch everything on frequencies, breath work, ice baths. I'm going to do it all until I'm not broke. Well, guess what? You're doing it from a broke mentality. Okay, so guess what? Expect some more brokenness, because you're going to spin your wheels and you're not going to see anything happen. Or if you do, it'll be a little bit and then it'll fall away. Okay. And the reason why is it's because of the foundation of the intention, which is your base frequency that you're going to build upon. And so what is my base frequency? First and foremost, if I'm freaking out that I'm broke, which I have been lately, and this is for me, okay, I got to deal with the belief that still believes I'm broke. I got to look at and look at what prosperity really is. Prosperity isn't money. Prosperity isn't things. Prosperity is oneness. It's unconditional love. It's togetherness. It's harmony. It's interaction, right? Oh, I like that. Derek, I got to put that up there because that's good. Frequency. That's right. I was freaking out instead of frequencing out. I was I can't even say it. I was frequencing out. Yeah, that's good.
That's funny.
But, so I want to go inward in this process. Here's the first key. Whatever you're dissatisfied in your life, and you've got all this revelation of how to shift worlds and create worlds, and you are a frequency, you can't do it because you see something out of whack. You first have to see if it's your perception of what you're currently in that is out of whack, that is coming from a trigger or shadow work that needs to be dealt with here, past trauma, okay? Once you've done that, now you can reevaluate and you can look at it again from a seated place of peace, rest, being love, being frequency, being prosperity, being generosity. And I believe that when we do that, we bypass the spinning on the wheel like the hamster and having to exhaust. So you can do it that way. Sometimes we have to exhaust our resources because our mind just will not look within. It's so stubborn. It's been in survival mode for years. And
lots of projections.
Lots of projections. And so we have to be able to do what? We have to go within. We have to be able to be honest with ourselves. It's hard to be honest with yourself when you've had to survive.
Right.
Okay. And so give yourself some grace. It's not like if you have a negative thought, you've just created a war in Russia. Okay. So don't take it to that extreme. Okay.
Right.
What it is that when something flashes back at you of when the universe gives back to you what you gave to it in your belief of your world, don't take that as a slap. Don't take it as you're being victimized. Take it as, oh, this is what the universe has been trying to tell me, that I need to get this in alignment. I need to retune my frequency here. I need to get in alignment. This is hitting me here because I have a belief here. Let's transmute that. Let's embrace ourselves in that place. And now let's try it again.
You know,
as you
were talking, it was kind of funny. I was thinking about, young people, you don't remember these kind of TVs, but you remember the TVs with the antennas. And every once in a while, you had to kind of be in tune with the frequencies, and you had to move the antennas so that you could watch TV. And that's really what we're doing in this life, is constantly having to just realign and be in tune with the reality, the true reality of who we are, who is God, who is everybody else, what is our world that we are living in. All of that. Because what it really comes down to is I tell myself, I'm like, I don't know everything. Nobody does, right?
Yeah.
But if I'm here, I want to live my best life. And I don't need to have $1 million to have my best life.
I'll take $1 million.
I know. But if I need something else to then be happy, I will be constantly looking for something, my world to line up a certain way for me to be happy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be able to just be happy and have peace, which is who I am right now, whether my world is lining up with what I want it to or not. And I think that's part of the beginning of shifting your reality, is can you be okay be peace and find peace in the midst of chaos?
That's right.
That's right. You remember that. Wrap those things with foil.
Foiled again. Yeah.
Accepting. Yes.
You have to be. Yes. You have to be able to accept. And here's a hard one. You have to be able to accept everything that seems to be attacking you as love. Because it's not attacking you, it's extracting you. There is nothing attacking you. There is only that which is extracting you. Okay. And that's a hard one, because it's good. It's easy when you're just in a repeat of what's been renewed in your mind, and you can now recognize it and rest in it. How many of us have felt that? We're like, I've got victory. Yeah, this thing came. It didn't bother me at all. But then next week, another thing came, and it began to touch a different part of the mind that was dormant, a part that was hiding. And that's right, happening for you, not to you. Exactly. Right. And so, don't think that a similar situation is, proving that you weren't healed at all from this. There are layers and layers and layers within the quantum field known as the matrix, which is the sound of everybody's conclusion of reality forming what you are experiencing in your 5 senses today.
Right.
And we can change that. As everybody begins to come in, as we line up with the 100 monkeys, okay, you know, and 100 of us agree on community and harmony and love and unity and giving and being generosity, guess what's going to happen? It's going to create a domino effect, okay? It's going to shift things. We will become unplugged from the matrix that the elites designed for us, that profit only a handful of people. And we will then, everybody will begin to come into a greater place of equality, unity. Resources will not be lacking. Do you think there's any lack of resources on the earth? No, there's not. There's not a lack of resources. Well, wait a second here. What about those starving children in Africa or third world countries? Well, guess what? All of us believe they're starving. They will continue to starve. All of us believe there's nothing for them. They will continue to have nothing because they're going to believe that what we're saying is true and there is their reality. What if we actually started believing for rivers in the desert, for springing forth, for harsh, parched land to become fertile land? What if land is a conclusive thought? What if everything that you wanted to grow that didn't grow first has to grow within the fertile ground of your perception? What if that's where everything is growing? If the seed bears fruit of itself and you are the incorruptible seed of divinity, then it is impossible for you to not bear fruit. So we need to begin to change the way we perceive our world by deprogramming from the matrix and coming out of the extremes by doing the shadow work so that we can begin to shift this reality. Because the reality we're in, we're not waiting for God to come back and change everything. There's nothing that needs to be changed except in our perception.
Yeah.
What would it be like if? Then feel it and see it in your mind's eye. There's a good key that Derek's putting out there. What would it be like if? Okay. And then see it in your mind's eye. You're not trying to make it come to pass, guys. Here's where we stumble. We visualize to try to change our world. That's not how you change your world. You're visualizing because you're tapping into what the reality of the world actually is.
Right.
That you concluded differently upon and have been living an alternate life than what actually is. Okay. Kind of like you're not trying to gain understanding, you're trying to remember understanding. You're not trying to get the truth, you're trying to you're looking to unveil the truth. Okay, truth isn't something you obtain, truth is who you are being unveiled as you let go of the conclusions of this life that are less than who you are. Right. You know, and so these are some of the keys we wanted to release. We're not going to take too much time today because you know, we are now working regular jobs. We're work campers at an RV park. And so we work about 4 days a week now, or actually she's only working 2, but that's going up to 4. I told the boss, you need to work her as much as you work me. So we are working for free rent and a little extra cash to pay our electric bill. And we are going to continue to be coming on here now that we have internet. We went from one phone company to the next, couldn't hardwire in here. We're trying everything because we're in the middle of the desert. And I'm like, okay, if we don't have internet, how are we supposed to do these videos?
But this is awesome.
And now we've got good internet and we got it finally set up so that we could come on here and hang out with you guys. We're going to continue doing Heavy Revy TV. And for now, we're going to continue with Father of Glory Global Ministries until we can raise the funds to shift everything over to Life Imagined. But we'll be kind of blending it. We're working on it. We're trying to get websites and all of that up. So if you want to help us, you know where to go. I think our website, foggm.org, is expiring in October, I believe. I'm not going to be renewing it. So we hope to have the new website up until then.
We got a little time.
But we've got a little time. So you can go there if you want to support us, if you want to give to help us get over this hump we're in right now. It's been a difficult difficult season for us. All our travels, it was the gas prices that took all our funds and some fix-its on the RV. And so we made it to where we're at on fumes, and we're trying to rebuild. So it's taken us some time.
Yeah.
So
we have been in transition, like I think a lot of different people.
Yes.
So I think
it is. I think a lot of people are in transition.
Have been in some kind of transition, whether you're physically moving or not.
Yes.
There's still a transition. And so I think that's why we really wanted to talk about being in transition, but also just the collective consciousness.
Yes.
I know. Did you see that?
Life I'm imagined in. And that's why it's called Life Imagined, Derek. It's called that because you have imagined your life. And it's going to be amazing because we're going to be focusing a lot on doing the shadow work, how the mind works, quantum, some mysticism there, the mystical side, mixed with ancient history that predates the Bible, that predates the Jews, where they got all their stuff. We're going to be talking about the Anunnaki. We're going to be talking about star seeds. We're going to be talking about frequencies and basically how we have imagined our life in this dimension, and hopefully bring you guys keys to not only keep you awake, keep you in remembrance, but keep you flowing in a place of peace, love, and balance, to where we can do away with some of these extremes that are happening, all over the place.
And I wanted to say something on top of kind of what we're talking about of awareness, consciousness, all of these things. Don't give up on yourself.
Yes.
I think, I was listening to, I think Joe Dispenza talking about how so many people dive into, let's say, meditation, and they quit. They give up on themselves. They say, oh, I can't sit here. I can't quiet my mind. I don't know how to do all these things. And I think what I'm realizing is even use that, even the desire to quit, the desire to give up on yourself, know that that is also surfacing part of your own reality, your personality, kind of like he says, like your personality is your personal reality. And so you aren't meditating to change you. You are meditating, or you are grounding, or you are praying, or whatever it is that you're doing is to realign yourself with who you really are.
Yes.
We get so caught up in needing to get healed, changed, fixed, blah, 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 blah. And we're trying to obviously do that for other people too. We see what's wrong with them and we're trying to fix them, heal them, whatever. But ultimately it comes down to, don't give up on yourself, because you are worth it.
Yes.
And if you don't feel like you're worth it, realize that perception is your reality that you're experiencing that isn't truth.
That's right.
And so don't give up. If you, let's say you put on, okay, I'm going to do a week of grounding. I'm going to do a month of, this meditation, whatever it is. Even if you start a meditation and you only can last a minute, give yourself a pat on the back. And next day, try 2 minutes.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if we want to see change, don't keep living in a world of insanity, which is doing the same things and expecting something different.
Yes.
If you want change and you want to see something different, then do something different. It's in action. That's what faith is. Faith isn't a thought. Faith is not I believe. No, faith is an action.
Yes.
And so don't give up on yourself if you're not seeing what you were wanting to see or believing to see in a short period of time.
Yes.
Keep going forward, whether you see it or not. Kind of like, I think we get there where we set our face as a flint and saying, I don't care what happens, I'm not stopping.
Yep.
And know that there is everyone, all of heaven and earth are backing you up, whether they are conscious of it or not. And get around those of similar like minds that are interested in shifting, their own perceptions, So I just wanted to really put that out there because I could really feel just that feeling of just giving up because they're not seeing what they want to see, or not getting healed, or not seeing change, or all of these things. So I just really felt like, don't give up, because I'm going to cry, because we're backing you up. Yes. We are believing in you. We are supporting you. And there are many on here that are on this same journey And I know it's hard sometimes to put yourself out there, but don't keep living in insanity, doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So be vulnerable, be real, be right where you are, because where you are is right where you need to be.
That's right.
And so get connected to other people. So yes, Tiffany, I feel you.
You know, when you mentioned, you know, your personality is your personal reality, realize that everything you're viewing outwardly is how you've been viewing yourself.
Right.
And when you are meditating and you feel the need to quit, realizing, look at the intention of what are you really trying to get out of your meditation? You know, am I trying to get somewhere externally? Because that's not the purpose of meditation. Or am I avoiding embracing myself internally? Usually that's where there's a struggle, is because I am looking at my situation, I'm meditating to change it, rather than meditating to embrace myself. And so as long as you're in it just because it's wonderful to know yourself, it's wonderful to meet yourself, then meditation will always bear good fruit. You will always see the proof of it. You will always get the benefit of it.
That's right. And that's why the beauty of oneness is the diversity that each person is carrying. I mean, there isn't one way to freaking meditate.
No.
You could go get your nails done and that be a form of love and meditation for yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
Do what you feel like you're desiring. I think for so long we've looked to see if we are doing the right things, you know, what is pleasing to God. And God wants us to know that we are pleasing. And so simply loving those parts of ourselves. Do something today, this week, whatever it is, that you are actually loving on yourself.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes, life is the meditation and medicine, like Derek said. It's so
it really is.
True.
You are the meditation going through life as well.
Right.
You know?
Because again, there's not one way to even meditate. You could, like I said, you could do multiple different things.
Yes.
All it's doing is help you to become aware of who you are.
That's right.
Which is wonderful, beautiful. And I think we hear those things and we believe them at some times, and then other times we forget, right? We forget and we need to remind ourselves. Right. We were watching a video earlier and Brian's like, oh, I remember now. Yes. And I'm like, yes, that's how easy. It's so easy to forget, but then it's so easy to remember.
Yes.
And so we need to keep constantly reminding ourselves, because that's what this life is about. Love, light, and different experiences that help us to come into that. And so I just felt like I needed to just put that out there. Don't give up.
That was very good.
Don't give up on yourself.
Everybody needed to hear that.
Yes.
That's good
it's
stuff.
It's not easy, but it's also not as hard as we've made it to be.
Yes. Well, like Jen just said, she says, I love going by a body of water to do it too. Yes. I love being around water. Some people, you know, there are times I just want to throw on YouTube and put on some classic rock and just sit back and just let go. And sometimes it's frequency music. Sometimes it's just nature. Nature is beautiful to just go out and relax in and meditate. Sometimes it's breathing. Sometimes it's just closing my eyes and visualizing. Sometimes it's exercise. You know,
me is hiking in nature. There's something that it does for my soul.
That's
that
right.
I need, that helps me remember.
Yes.
And so do what is inspiring for you right now. Do it.
Do it.
And enjoy it and love it and embrace it. And it's like when we do those kinds of things that are connecting us, it's reminding us of who we are.
Yes. Definitely.
And therefore is affecting the collective consciousness. Do not think that, you know, your journey is purposeless and worthless, because our thoughts affect everyone.
Oh yeah. Let me give you an example. I know we're supposed to go, and this will be the last thing, then we're going. All right. Years ago, I would be flowing on the eternal, on deaf ears. We're talking 25 years ago. I was called a New Ager, or people would stick around for the miraculous that would follow, or this atmosphere that would come from what I was saying. So part of their mind was getting it, but they were not conscious of it. Okay. But I would Google it. I wouldn't get anything. Nobody was talking about it. And if there were, it was New Agers only, right? Back in those days, in my charismania, I was so programmed in an us and them mentality that I would just shut it down. If it's a New Age, it must not be God, but now I look and I see it everywhere. I see everybody. It's just common sense now that we're eternal. And I look at that and I go, wow, I know that I had a part in forerunning that frequency. And everything that you have done that you haven't seen the results yet, realize it is working itself into the collective. Everybody is starting to wake up to how you're living your life. Like Isaiah, he walked in the wilderness naked for 2 years, prophesying, make straight the way of the Lord. Nobody's around hearing his prophecies. And it shifted generations, okay, to begin to see that manifest. So realize that everything that you're doing in secret is being proclaimed on the housetops when it comes to helping the collective to transition into their true identity, into their true nature as divinity, as source, and in connection with source. And so we just appreciate you guys. Right now, normally we did have our Heavy Revy TV scheduled, but right now we're trying to work a schedule, so it's going to be spontaneously coming on until we can talk to the boss over here, and
until we get a regular schedule.
And wait until we get a regular schedule. We're still in training, and then we'll let you know which days. But for now, we're just going to pop on when we can, and hopefully at least a couple times a week, and say hi to you guys and bring some revelation and some flow and some atmosphere. So we just want to speak love and life over you. We just want to speak peace over you. We just release the frequencies of grace. We release the frequencies of generosity, of prosperity, of clarity. We just vibrate with you. We vibe with our tribe, and we just release that atmosphere of wholeness and that second wind that is needed for you to step up into your destiny, to step up into fulfillment of your dream. And we just release that. We release wholeness over your DNA. We speak an upgrade over your DNA. We release the frequencies that will bring your DNA into the next phase of releasing that wholeness, of that crystalline body, that solar body, that release of energy. And we just release you into the next phase of peace, of clarity, of understanding, of relatability with those that have not been able to hear you. I'm hearing right now for some of you that there's going to be a release of those who have not been able to hear you, that have twisted everything you said or heard it twisted, that your frequency is rising up and is going to shift them to be able to hear you, and to hear your heart, and to be able to reciprocate and to receive who you are in the spirit. So there's coming another awakening amongst family members, specifically those lost in religion and in politics, that are still believing the political agenda and the religious agenda. Your frequency that has felt stifled and quenched and is breaking out, and without you even saying a word to them, the frequency you're carrying is realigning them, and they are reconsidering what they have been holding on to and standing on, that has been causing more strife and dissension. And it's going to begin to shift. So get ready for that. But we love you guys. We appreciate you. And we'll see you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Visit the website. Visit our YouTube. We got tons of stuff on there for you for free. Love y'all. Be blessed. Bye-bye.